Prizes ago.
Yeah, the main difference tonight for other things going on is simply that it's game time progress for once. We don't do that terribly often, but that's what's happening today.
We do start with Strago, so we do start with one of our natural magic characters. We get to see Zolfer's favorite check, possibly Casa del Fuego.
Yeah, always fun to have the Strago. I am personally a fan of these three character starts. And that's why we have a little bit of a higher requirement. It's usually 710 standard, but with the extra character to start with, opens things up a little more, gives you a little more leeway. So we add a few requirements: one extra character, one extra Esper. And it seems like we're starting it with, the basics. Boo checking them chests in the returner's hut, and three others, just heading to Nurse to clear that out.
Yeah, it's a bit interesting that Boo didn't check Nurse, considering that he started with Mog, because he could have done Mog's check and check Kafka Narsh as well at the same time.
Yes, that is another benefit to the three character start, is that Kafka at Nurse check is no longer as egregious as it sometimes is in terms of difficulty. Sometimes if you start with the two characters and you are stuck having to do that as a required check, it can be very rough. Have to grind, etc.
We are playing with shuffled abilities, so that's going to be something different than the norm. So as you see here, Strago has Capture, which he does not have in Vanilla.
Yes, every character will have a random unique ability, which has been shuffled around, so I don't know what any of them are. We'll find out as we go along.
We did see Boo pick up a Force Armor, which is a nice pickup this early in the seed.
That is a very decent piece of armor indeed, and it looks like a Telstar in that monster in a box in Narsh. Throwing some poison around, and we have Fraggle with his standard play of renaming Strago to Zelfer, because as we all know, it's Zelfer's favorite character.
Now, Strago isn't a bad character per se, he just has awful checks.
He does have terrible checks, and with the his stats aren't stupendous either, but with random unique abilities, it's way more important what ability you get. Ooh, a Dragon Horn for Boo. He's going to be very happy about that. Loves him a Dragoon, that man.
Well, this Strago in particular is also a little bit special because it does have the natural magic ability.
Yes.
So in Vanilla, it would be Terra and Celeste to have that. In this flag set, we gave it to Gao, I don't know why, and Strago, and so we get to see Strago have it.
Was hilarious.
Gao belongs in a trash can. That's the only place Gao belongs.
That is many people's opinions, and that is the same reason I gave Strago natural magic. Both to kind of mess with people, but also to give them a slight edge, and maybe we'll actually see people, keep them in the party longer. Hard to say. Depends what spells and abilities and etc. we find. I know Boo will certainly be benching someone for a Dragoon, but he did start with Mog, so that's a natural Dragoon right off the bat. Just needs to find a lance and some boots.
So we are going to pick the Ghost, and the Ghost is going to give us... I don't know, the Ghost is not being quick today. We get a Ragnarok, very nice find.
Yeah, Ragnarok's always nice to find. One of the best weapons in the game, without question. Also, for once, it was a sort of, maybe, kind of, you might think about it, choice in terms of the Guardian. But you can go back and get those in the other world for each of those choices you're forced to make at certain checks.
I believe that one is the one that will be behind the Welk check, or is that the one that's at
that
Moogle Cave?
Be in the Moogle Cave in the World of Ruin, the place where you recruit Mog in the second part of the game. Very, very rare to see a runner go there. There are some chests and stuff, but you have to... It's a big time sink, so you got to be pretty confident that you're going to get something good out of it. We are seeing Kefka at Narsh being attempted here.
Mystery, I'm going to direct you to Discord for a second.
Alrighty.
So we do have Shadow at the Edgar check.
Very nice character to find. Always good for that. One of the best characters in the game, particularly if he has throw, but, you know, even without it, good stats, pretty good equipment pool, nothing to complain
we
about.
have a Celeste, so that would immediately probably bench Mog for me, depending on what her ability is.
I don't know. Boo did just find a Dragonhorn. I guess he does have 2 natural Lancers there, so it is a bit of a question mark. But
She only has Rage, though, so that might bench her. But it looks like he's going to bench Edgar.
Celeste with Rage. Best equipment pool in the game, but Rage is a big old question mark. And I'm not seeing much of note in that Rage list.
It looks like Fraggle is going to be going through the soldiers at the Kefka and Arch check.
Yeah, Fraggle, we have seen many times in the past, does seem to enjoy grinding on some of those guys, but you know, sometimes you do 1 or 2, you find out it's a bad idea, sometimes it's not worth it, and sometimes you just skip them.
I remember I had a flag where we had Gigantos at those spawns, and I killed every single one of them, and I ended up with like level 70.
Yes, Gigantos, for those unaware, best experience up per level of any monster in the game, I'm pretty sure. So, if you can kill those guys, it's always a good idea to try to do that. Got Boo checking out Tomasa. We'll see if he does that fiery house.
Oh, we know Flame Area will not be there because Flame Area is at the Ice Plains at Kefka and Arch.
Yes, not generally a boss you want to see really early, but Fraggle gets through it. So, no problems for him there. Unfortunately, Boo, the Boo who is Mog, will be getting no experience for that fight.
It was like Boo the Runner found a snow muffler somewhere.
One of the best pieces of armor in the game. Quite strong in terms of defense and ice absorption.
It was in the Thamasa chest.
Ah.
Thank you to Von Marlowe in chat for that fill-in.
Yes, it is often difficult to keep up with 4 screens, as anyone who has attempted to restream this before will know. Offerings for sale, that's always interesting.
Now, I know offerings are kind of a hit or miss subject. How do you feel about them personally?
I would wait on buying one until I found a weapon to use it with, and there are only a handful that it's worth it, so...
I would say fixed dice. I would
Which
say
Nightblade just found. So
I would go buy one of those now, personally.
Yeah, I don't think Nightblade knows where that is, though, so... Red Jacket also, very good chests in the South Figaro off the bat there. Coronet, also a decent thing. Boo making the odd choice to run to Miranda. Very rare we see anyone go there.
So, fixed dice are kind of one of those weapons that are a little bit of a divide in the community, I've found. Some people love them, some people hate them. I will use them if I find them. I have no shame about using them.
I will use them up until a point. They are not super reliable and they're quite slow, and if you have multi-target enemies, they're a problem. So if I find like an Illumina or something, I will often nix the fixed dice.
Valiant Knife and Sniper are 2 other good choices.
Sniper is good, yes. Not ideal. It will still suffer that damage penalty, but the Valiant Knife, certainly one of the best options. If you're a really high level, the Atma weapon will do it, but it's rare you get that high of a level in the rando here. I believe you need to be about level 52 for it to become, particularly viable. So,
that's why you just need to have Gigantos at a fixed spot, and you're all set.
Yep. So, Albrook checks for Boo. Treasure up on Nightblade. Fraggle also in there. Mildane checking out the rages on Celeste and probably being disappointed.
So we have offerings for sale, and we have Genji gloves and chests. Interesting combination.
There was also a fixed dice somewhere, and we're not very far into the seed. So it will be interesting to see if those offerings see much use going forward. Also, thank you to whoever started the timer, because like every other time I've restreamed, I definitely forgot.
Yeah, that happens. So we are going to go to the World Ruin on Boo's side. We'll see where he decides to go. We have Nightblade cleaning out the Returner's camp, and we have Fraggle and Mildane is now checking out South Figaro.
Yeah, fairly standard moves so far, aside from Boo running to Miranda. There are 2 chests in that town, but there are also only 2 shops. And it's pretty out of the way in the World of Balance, certainly. So it's kind of unusual to see anyone actually go there in a race.
I don't really think you found much of worth there either.
No, and that's usually how it works out. And then I have some things I can't say because spoilers. What dried meat in that shop there that Fraggle just found? Always helpful to find that.
For those wondering what Mystery is referring to, we do have a community event going on that he may or may not have played already.
Yes, we do have the Kafka Grand Prix running up towards the end of its run. We have one more week of asyncs, and then we will be having the final 4 battle it out live.
And they'll be here on Randomania.
Indeed. Remove find there for Boo in the Celeste check, and Fraggle going to the Coliseum, something we're starting to see a bit more of, but it's a big old gamble.
See, this Coliseum check is actually new to me. I have not really been aware of why you would go here.
People have started going there because if you're lucky and you find a bunch of cheap stuff that you can get good stuff out of by winning battles, you might gain a big advantage. I've done it once, and that was just because I found the tiered chests, tiered shops, etc. to be unlikely to provide me with anything good, but it turned out to be a giant waste of time. And that's the thing, you're not getting experience, you're not getting magic points, all you're getting is the item reward. And you're not in control of your characters, you just have to hope for the best. But as chat is saying, if you're Zelfer, you might get Illuminas.
We did see Fraggle get a pair of Tiger Fangs out of it, the best knuckle weapon in the game.
A reasonable weapon to equip for stats. As with most weapons in the game, though, it's more about what they do than how much power they have. So, Marble Shoes on that one. That's a pretty good backup relic, depending on how you want to play. I tend to go offensive, so I'd personally usually rather have an earrings or something in that slot. But if you're having trouble finding defense, you can't be beat.
It does look like he is going to be getting a few of them, though, because those jokers are going into one hit. So, not a bad play at this point.
Yeah, seeing Boo putting a Dragon Horn on Shadow. Must have jump naturally. I did not see him check it. But he does have 2, 3, 4 back road characters now. And Bio on that Esper, remove. Which is pretty nice. Decent starting spell. We do have tiered spells on the Espers today, which is something I don't think anybody's particularly familiar with yet, but it basically means you're more likely to get low-level spells than high-level spells. So Bio is a pretty good pickup in this case.
So I think we're like about 13 minutes in now, and we've only had one boss encounter, which was the one at Kefka and Arsh.
Yeah, well, with the Strago start, probably not many people going there. Shadow Find early, there's some free checks involved in that. That is an expensive stone, but it is Shiva, and it has Bolt Break and X Zone. Not amazing, sort of useful. But yes, it's mostly been people doing the free stuff, getting... Oh, there was warp on that too. For warp, that's helpful.
No warp stones in stores yet, so that's definitely nice to have.
Yes, you always want those as soon as you can. It looks like Boo was maybe buying an offering there.
Yeah, he traded a force armor for an offering. Interesting call.
Yes. What does he... Oh, he found the fixed dice. That makes sense. So Boo now has a fairly powerful, if gambly, attack strategy. Fraggle finding red caps for cotton capes or something. All he has to do is kill a goblin, which has fire 3. Conveniently misses though.
So one thing to note, we've been talking about the offerings, but we haven't really said what they do yet. So basically, it lets you use a weapon 4 times in a row. You know, with a weapon like the fixed dice that ignores defense, it's a nice little benefit. Fixed dice, however, have a different effect where they do a random amount of damage per roll.
Yes, the other thing about the offering is it makes you do half damage every time you hit. So if you have something like the fixed dice that has its own weird damage equation, it will just straight up ignore that and always do whatever damage it does. But the fixed dice are, as you say, you're rolling dice. I mean, you get what it says on the tin.
I think it's the sum of the dice times your level times 50 or something like that.
It's the sum of your dice times the level times whatever the number on the die is if there are triples, and then there's something else that goes in there.
Needless to say, it's confusing. They just roll. Whatever they roll, they roll.
They do damage, and they ignore defense. They just do a set amount of damage based on a little equation.
They're brilliant against things like Magimash that has a very high defensive ability.
Yes, or at the start of Seeds, when you maybe don't have the levels to get through some of the harder bosses, it can do wonders for you. Looks like Mildane's doing the Opera House there. About to see our second boss of the Seed then.
I don't think we have bosses mixed in with fixed encounters, do we?
I do not recall setting that. What we do have, however, is random bosses, so they're not just shuffled around. They are, in fact, completely random. We might see 5 poltergeists, we might see 0 poltergeists. Boo finding a pearl lance to go with his dragon horn.
I am hoping for a high spicy chicken seed.
Me too, those things are delicious.
I've actually never had one.
Isn't Wendy's an American thing?
I'm just not a really big fan of chicken.
Oh, hot take on that one. Especially for the spicy chicken. It's an even hotter take. Deep Eyes for Nightblade. Not an ideal find. They can turn you into stone.
Wow, he is in Zelfer's home.
Yep. Taking the old man for a nap in the fire. And we are seeing Boo finally doing that lone wolf check, where he will receive a Ragnarok. Lots of offense in the treasures being given out so far this seed. And 2 of the runners are in the forced encounter areas, which are generally, unless you're Jack, avoided for a little while. Also, Fraggle appears to have gone through that entire place backwards, which I wasn't aware was a thing. I guess you can, but that actually might be a smart move. If you explore the town first, you wind up on the right side anyway. I'm going to have to remember that. You also avoid the chance of that Chancellor child chanceling you.
So we're starting to see up on Nightblade side why everyone hates the Flaming House. These fights are kind of slow, and you run into a lot of them.
Yeah, there's a lot more of them there than in any other forced encounter check, too, is one thing. And there's no save point or healing location towards the end like you would get in some of the others. It's just a bunch of fights. They're really hard to avoid because you're in little tiny hallways. And if they're bad, they're just bad.
Marlon in chat bring up a good point for you, Mr. E. You can't do that reverse South Fig in the World of Balance. You have to do it in the Water Road.
Yes, because in the World of Balance there is some guy standing in your way.
Because he's a jerk.
Well, obviously. This game loves to put chancellors in your way.
It looks like we have the Ifrit Shiva combo boss at the Opera.
Yeah, one thing we don't see often, but which can happen with this boss, is during the switch from Ifrit to Shiva, it can just be ran away from. Because the game considers it to be no enemies on the screen or something weird like that. So it is the only boss in the game you can technically run away from.
Looks like he just kills it outright with a pretty strong Ice 2 on Ifrit.
Yeah, if you have their weaknesses or any kind of defense ignoring thing, they will go down pretty quickly. If all you have is magic, you better hope you have their weaknesses, though, because they are immune to all damage from elemental magic, aside from their specific weaknesses.
Now, one thing I'd like to note, we see we had a 3-character start. We have 4 runners in 4 different parts of the world. We have Fregel doing the Ancient Castle. Bood just finished up one. Mildane is at the Opera, and we have Nightblade up at the Burning House. So a lot of variation in this flag set so far.
Yep, and that's one of the things I like about the 3-character start. As I said earlier, it kind of opens up your options a bit more. You're less likely to get kind of railroaded, and in this randomizer I like to show off the fact that you can go completely different routes and wind up at the end at about the same time. It's one of the major draws for this rando for me. And there's our first spicy chicken! Nestled on a bed of wriggling worms.
Spicy
Just
chicken plus tentacles.
Just the way Wendy's serves them. And we have our first look at the sealed gate, it looks like, on Mildane.
Ooh, where did we find Terra? I did not see her.
I was not looking. It must have been in...
Must be the Opera
House, yes.
Opera, yeah.
That is where he was. Terra, one of the best characters to find in the game. As always with the random uniques now, it's a little harder to say for sure which character is the best, but she does have 5 checks and the best equipment pool in the game. Ooh, going to buy that $60,000 Esper.
One thing that will not be debated with her is she has checks that will give you a lot of items very quickly.
Oh, yes, absolutely. The sealed cave, even if you don't go to the sealed cave, has more chests than any other check in the game, basically. You can just go to the Imperial Camp outpost thingy there, walk out with those chests from there, and ignore the sealed gate completely, and you'll still be super loaded with treasure.
So, Boo just lovely 60,000 price tag for that gem. He's going to pass it for now. Probably check it in the alternate world, see if it's any cheaper over there.
Yeah, they do have 2 different prices, and 60K is very nearly the highest it can be. It's some number between 1 and about 65,000. So, take your chances on that in the other world, I would say.
I was doing a practice run about 2 days ago, and my World of Balance was $1 less than my water run.
That's just the game trolling you.
I was less than pleased. Save a buck.
Yeah, well, I mean, save your money where you can. If you say if you buy 10, you could get a rename card. Fraggle, I was about to say having some issues with that poltergeist, but Jack gets through it for him. Boo and Zelfer of no help.
That's the power of the fixed ice, and I think the snow muffler.
Indeed. And that's an Aura Lance for him. I'm not sure if he found the Dragon Horn. It was in one of those chests that not everyone looks at. And it's an Esper of Scraffim for Fraggle. Boo heading into the Magitech factory. Standard move for people looking for Espers. We will.
It shouldn't chase though for Boo this early in the seed, because Magitech Factory is something that can be a little bit of a trap at times.
Yeah, we do see a lot of runners warp out after the first two checks, because then you're stuck with a forced encounter railroad, and you can't warp out once you get to that point. So you gotta make sure you don't save yourself into a corner on that one, which I have definitely done before.
Esper Cave just being a flaming shield.
I mean, it is still a flame shield, but yeah, not ideal. It does take a little bit of time to get through there, but it is at least a free check. That being said, we are on game time progression today, or scaling rather. So for every 3 minutes of the game that passes, the enemies will go up a level. Usually we are on progression scaling. So there's a bit of a different strategy between those two. You're more pressured to go quickly in this. Some cranes there in the first boss check for Boo at the Magitech factory. Nightblade still slowly working his way through those deep eyes.
We do have a nice little Merton setup. We have the Flame Jacket and 2 elemental shields.
Yeah, just need to find Merton, which is not super likely with tiered spells. We don't know exactly how the tiering of these things works yet. Just that you're more likely to get low and mid-tier things than high-tier things.
We do see a gem box for Boo, another one of those relics that a lot of people kind of debate over its usefulness.
It has its uses. I often sell them. Fraggle picking up his 4th character, Shadow, there. Boy, yeah, the gem box has some positives. You get 2 spells off in 1 turn, but it also has negatives in as much as it doesn't technically count as 1 turn. Enemies can counter both attacks, and you can't use Espers, and it takes twice as long to charge up. Sometimes I just don't feel it's worth it, and I'd rather just cast the spell twice on 2 turns.
Nightblade playing Dancing with Fire.
And Rex Soul for Boo. I wonder if he learned X-Zone from that one thing, although, as I have found out multiple times, to my detriment, you can't X-Zone Rex Soul to death if he's on the map. Which he usually is, because we have a quality of life feature, which prevents him from using his Zinger ability and possessing your dudes.
You could potentially cost Vanish on him if you have Vanish.
Interesting. That is
if you do Vanish into X Zone, that works on quite a few bosses actually.
Yep, and Nightblade has successfully killed his dad. We will see what the reward there is.
It's Terra. We saw that already.
No, that was the Opera's.
Oh, you're right. That's right. Yeah, you're right.
We are seeing Fraggle heading towards the ancient castle. I believe Boo skipped out on this portion. I did not see him go there. It is a character for Nightblade. We can tell by this little cutscene with the dog fighting the fire. And it's Go-Go. A character.
Go-Go is a very interesting character.
He's a great support character and is almost universally useful, if not great. The community does seem to really hate his check, but I personally don't find it that big of a deal.
The thing with this check is the falling portion. Oh, that was a very much cheaper stone in the World of Ruin. It was only a couple $1,000. So yeah, that portion of the ceiling's falling on you is very hit or miss, meaning the game doesn't really sense your position correctly.
Yes, if you have not completed the movement sequence of the square you appear to be on, you can still get crushed by the previous square. It's a slightly odd bit of programming, but, you know, once you've gone through there a few times, maybe just skip one of the chests and you'll be fine either way. Woof, 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 woof. The dog fights the thing.
We have Katana Soul.
Indeed. I did see use of tools earlier. I'm not sure who that was on, but I saw some kind of bioblast effect happening. So it'll be interesting if they have a noise blaster. And I believe there's someone with lore, so...
Ravlin Bray bring up a good point that we can Sour Mouth it and hopefully confuse it.
Yes, I guess that's what I saw earlier with Sour Mouth, not a bioblaster.
And that's what it does. He just Slayer Edged himself, and down goes Katana Soul.
Indeed. That will be a free offering for Fraggle, saving him 50k.
So Fraggle has found not only Poltergeist, but now he's found Katana Soul, two things that can be pretty damaging.
Yeah, I think he was going out of his way on that one, though. Oh, we're seeing another rename. Thinking about it. Fouls. It's you!
It is me.
I didn't know you were that good at jumping. And Magicite find for the Senior Behemoth spot for Boo with a fight of Narappa, one of the essentially free bosses.
Narappa is the kind of boss that's annoying in vanilla, but fine here.
Yes, you're usually not on a timer fighting it here. And we're
seeing some big dice rolls.
Milbane fighting that spicy chicken. Nightblade seemingly going to check that Celeste cell. And Fraggle about to reveal the reward in the ancient cave. It's a dead check. Oh no, it isn't. Magicite. Phoenix. And it has poison and stop and mute. I did not see the bonus there.
It looks like Celeste has Flare Star in one of her rages. I didn't catch which one it was, though.
This is one of the issues with Rage. If you know how it works or have a cheat sheet open, there are some lesser known really good or super situationally useful rages. I'm not sure what rage has Flare Star on it. Zelfer telling us that Io is the only rage with Flare Star. We did see a fight with an Io earlier, so I don't think Milbane started with that as an option.
The thing is that Flare Star's fire elemental, so it's going to be healing Poltergeist, which you don't want.
Yes, not an ideal choice in this circumstance. It also has a very odd damage calculation, which somehow involves what level the target is, and it does more damage based on what level they are. I'm not entirely sure how it works.
So we are seeing Milbane have Edgar slice Celeste's head off. It's great.
It's the only way sometimes. Boo, meanwhile, fighting motorcycles in the sky, and Fraggle found a Minerva. Quite possibly the best piece of equipment in the game that is defensive. I mean, it's either that or the Paladin Shield.
So we did just see something that some people may not know about Poltergeist. If you have Reflect, you can actually reflect its own Stop Soul pack on it and absolutely stop it, because it is vulnerable to the Stop magic.
Indeed, one of the only bosses weak to that particular gray magic. But earlier when we saw Stop and Mute on an Esper, the reason I said those both might be useful is Stop is useful on Poltergeist and Mute is useful on the final battle.
Nightblade going down into the stomach of the worms to do Go-Go's check. We'll see what's here. We'll see who doesn't get squished.
Maybe he'll find Paul Atreides. Good point in chat. The Illumina is indeed a very good defensive weapon. I just kind of leave it out of that particular list. Because Illumina might be hands down the best piece of equipment in the game. Like, without much question. It's one of those three things.
Nightblade going for the third chest, finding a Rage Ring for his trouble.
Not much use without Umaro. If you find a Blizzard Orb, that does make characters absorb or possibly be immune to, I can't quite remember, ice. So even if you're not Umaro, that one does have a use, but the Rage Ring, not so much.
It's a bit of money at the very worst.
Yeah. If only the game had an Incredible Hulk to equip it on. I hear that guy's not very nice when he's angry. And
Disagreeing soldier giving Nightblade a bit of the business, which is why a lot of people don't like this check.
Yeah, well, he did go for that extra chest, which many people will avoid. Bit of extra difficulty you don't need for that one chest. Kefka in the sky for Boo.
And now to see if we have grapes or not. Playing it safe and not going for the double chest.
Although, making a mistake there. It seemed like they knew where that was and just misjudged it.
We have one Esper on the floating continent, and that was Maduin.
Our first level 2 elemental spell.
So Gogo got turned into wine.
Probably not a very good vintage either. So we have Boo finally on the floating continent itself. Meanwhile, Fraggle is fighting that pretty much gimme Narappa. And Mildane's still struggling with that Poltergeist. Oh, Nightblade goes down again.
Yeah, this ceiling is not being kind to Nightblade.
No, I find if I do this in a race, I will tend to go slowly and carefully. I will get the first chest, then I'll get the second chest. And then I'll do a quick get the last chest and run out. Because if you find something with a long name in that first chest, something the game isn't really balanced around, it can take that extra little bit of time that you would normally have as a buffer. Hero ring in the final chest, and there we see that movement thing, clearly in that square, but dead anyway because the game did not consider him there.
At least he knows that last chest is nothing that great, so he probably won't stop for it this time.
The last chest was a hero ring. That's an amazing item. Fraggle finding Celeste. And a drill. And just throwing money around. Funbaba on the floating continent for Mr. Boo.
Funbaba week 2 bio, so that's nice to pick up that spell already.
Yes, one of the few bosses weak to poison as far as I recall.
Correct.
And Nightblade just not doing it quite right again. There are ways to be more careful about this. You can take it slow, you could just run out, wait for it to smash, and then run up and get that last chest if you're not confident about your movement. I can see why they're trying to get that hero ring. It's a very good relic. Odin there, the reward for that fight that Boo just had. Did not check it. We see a Cure 2 magic power +1 on Phantom. That is the first bit of healing I have seen so far. At least in terms of spells. Fraggle just taking 2 characters, it seemed like. I'm not sure what I just saw there. because that's an odd decision. Yeah, just the two characters, Fowls and Jack, on their own against two bosses in a row. I'm not sure what Fraggle is thinking there.
Good if you're trying to get some extra EXP, but I don't think the EXP flag split is on.
No, the split is not on, so there is no reason to leave characters out. Nightblade finally getting to the end and finding a Minerva. Not ideal for a check that took that long in this case, but as I
will
said
never
before,
turn down a Minerva, ever.
Yeah, Minerva, Illumina, Paladin Shield. If there's a dead check and I get one of those, I'm not going to be too mad. Ooh, X-Zone getting cast. Not...
Ben shows Sly, our scaling is game time, so every 3 minutes, the enemies will go up 1 level.
Yep, and they're scaling with random elements as their attacks, which is a bit of a wrench in the works. Well, yeah, this is an odd decision from Fraggle. It's possible he misread what was going on with the flags, but we'll just have to ask him in an interview. Boo coming up to the end of the floating continent here. And we find a piranha. Time for Boo to go take a pee.
Yeah, this is a time fight. It will last between 30 and 90 seconds.
Yep. We'll see in Milbane going down to the ancient castle. I don't think we've seen anybody fight a dragon yet, but this is an opportunity for someone to do that if they choose to. Dragons are not required tonight, but they are, if you can kill them, a very nice source of quick experience and magic points and nice items. Tritalk successfully killed by Fraggle with those fixed dice. Tritalk has incredibly high physical defense, but that's one of those places where the fixed dice will shine. Bet to see another Katana Soul fight in the Katana Soul spot. And Rizipus himself has finally shown up for Boo.
That's Fraggle with the falling clown.
Yeah, it's not time for him to be falling yet. That happens later.
And that's why he escapes.
Yeah, I guess Fraggle just got there early. Gigantos for Nightblade. As we were mentioning earlier, the most experience per level a monster can gain in FF6. So if you find one and you can kill it, that's quite the chunk of XP you're getting.
The one thing with Gigantos is it tends to attack like 7 times in a row with its throat jab.
Yes, and I'm pretty sure it counters things as well. Boo receives the Magicite Carbuncle, which has Poison, Drain, Haste 2, and something else on it. Leaving him at 6 out of 11... 7, rather, out of 11, I was about to say. I think maybe Zelfer hadn't updated that yet. And 5 out of 8 characters. Reasonably far in the lead. Oh, not that far ahead of Fraggle, but the other two struggling a little bit. And this is a good time, I think, for me to say. Everyone should go follow our delicious runners. They play a lot of this game. They play other games. They're good people. You should go hang out with them. I like them.
Absolutely. And of course, Zelfer85 behind the scenes, helping us out with tracking. Get my co-com today, Mr. Trinity.
Indeed. The most important of those people being Zelfer, one of our top runners in the entire community. Content to take this week out and help us track. So, thanks to him, I believe this is his first time doing it, and he seems to be on top of it. And for those of you that might want to come join in on the fun, we have a Discord. We have a website for generating seeds, which now includes a wiki for anybody confused about any of the settings or getting started. or all of that stuff. It's a great community. It's a wonderful game. Come hang out with us. It's very welcoming. If you have any trouble, there will be like 5 people to answer your questions almost immediately. It's a great place.
Yeah, there's people around pretty much all times of day. We have a event going on right now that's about to wrap up, and then about a month after that we will possibly be starting another one. We haven't really fully decided yet.
Yeah, we're always trying new things. The community, for the quality of game that we have at the moment, you would think has been around a lot longer. It's only been about a year. I mean, I joined in January or February, and I don't think it was around much before that.
So we've talked about the game, however, we haven't talked about Atmatech, who is the developer of this game, and he has done an absolutely fantastic job, so thank you, Atma.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like I said, you'd think this randomizer had been out for years. But no, Atma just updates. Always listening to the community, taking in feedback, and just making the game better and better. So, as always, thank you to Atmatech for giving us a reason to be here.
And now we have Boo finding the lovely spicy chicken at the top of the tentacles.
Indeed. It looks like Edgar has been stopped and blasted. One of the more dangerous things Poltergeist can do. If he stops you, there is... I thought it was a 100% chance, but I've seen it not happen, that he will just immediately do a one-hit kill move on you. So, it's best to stop him before he can stop you.
Yeah, you can actually catch her on the stop spell, or you can reflect his back on him.
Indeed. Dragoon boots there in a chest for Mildane, but I believe he has Shadow already, so...
Fraggle knocking out Finn Baba.
Yeah, Finn Baba, not the hardest boss in the game, although he can be a bit iffy if you catch him at the wrong sort of level. Odin there, Bolt 2 and Pearl. Pearl, one of the higher damage spells, but there are a couple very notable bosses that are very hard that will absorb it. So,
And it's very slow.
Yes, it is also very slow. Still,
I think that and Flare are kind of the 2 slowest spells that people
Flare
cast quite
is
often.
the slowest spell in the game. It takes about 13 seconds to cast or something. It's very slow. Pearl, it's a little bit faster, but still not great. And then you kind of have Ultima, but Ultima gets by for being just ludicrous.
Ultima is non-elemental, and it hits everything on the screen.
And it ignores the damage division of hitting everything on the screen and magic defense.
Which is fun, because Kafka gets that benefit too, so if you have one character left and you cast Ultima, ugh.
Yep. Kafka's counters, if you aren't paying attention, are quite deadly. So we are seeing Nightblade coming up on the Terra reward of the Opera House here. I think he's the second person to go there. We saw someone, Boo, probably did it earlier.
I think Mildane has Terra, because he did the shack in the ruins.
Indeed. I was misremembering there. But yeah, Terra is a character I will never be mad to find.
Now, has the advent of the shuffle abilities changed your mind on who you want to have in your party at all?
I glanced over words. I did a word over this earlier, which was basically it's a little harder to say who's the best character now, because it is going to be dependent on what abilities they have, if they have natural magic, etc. But in standard flags where you have the normal equipment pool plus some random stuff, there's certain characters that are still just better as a base, like Terra, Celeste, Locke. Those are all like top tier characters in terms of equipment. Locke has pretty middling, if not bad, stats, but Terra and Celeste have pretty slightly above average overall stats for everything.
I think my ideal Final Four with basic settings would be Realm, Terra, Celeste, and Shadow.
Yeah, Terra, Shadow, certainly. I might sub out one of Realm or Celeste for Cyan. Assuming
Cyan's good
sword
if
tech.
you do. Yeah, I was gonna say Cyan's good if you do his level 8 sword tech.
Yeah, especially if you get it early.
One thing that Atma has changed in this randomizer is his sword techs are no longer glacial slow.
Yes, they run, I think, 4 times faster in charge up. So he went from being bottom tier character to top tier character, but people didn't actually realize that for a while. And then since the advent of random abilities, he's kind of a bit more iffy again. He's quite strong, but he's quite slow, and he's not very good at anything else.
I mean, he is kind of an old man, not as old as Strago, but he is kind of an old man, so
yeah,
he kind of gets a little bit of a pass.
And his equipment pool is pretty iffy. Kind of like Sabin. Sabin is another one of the strongest characters, but has one of the worst equipment pools in the game.
Oh, Mildane found a relic somewhere. We have the Murder Child. I did not see where Murder Child was, though.
Let me see if I can look it up on this tracking sheet, because I also missed that. Realm was the reward for Mobliz 2. So I guess it's in the middle of that check. That's why we did not quite catch how that happened. And Realm has tools, and we have seen the drill and other nice things. But they're skipping out on Realm. Skipping out on that barrel that they may or may not have got earlier, and doing something we don't see many runners do, making use of this free in.
Nice little HP refill after the tough boss fight.
Yep, not many people I'm sure are even aware that's a thing. Or that one of those barrels is a treasure, but only in the World of Ruin. Or that if you go back in that room where Dwayne and Katarina are, there's also a chest there, but you can only get it by going back in. I don't think I've ever seen anybody go get that.
Ooh, we have a experience egg also on Meldane's side. That's a nice pickup.
That is always good to see, except maybe at party highest scaling. We are seeing Boo killing a gold dragon. Possibly the least worrying dragon, but it is scaled at random, so they might not just throw bolt after bolt at you.
We have Mildane in Jador. We'll see if he is going to Alzer or if we're getting the auction play.
We usually don't see a lot of runners going for the auction house early. I personally tend to leave it until I know I need espers. Simply because a lot of the times these seeds will wind up with, oh, I have way too many characters, or oh, I have way too many espers, and it tends to skew towards too many espers more than characters.
See, I'm usually kind of cursed with that. I know you've watched some of my races in the past. I tend to find a ton of characters, I can never find my espers.
Yeah, that can happen, and it's always rough. Because ideally you want your espers early so you can learn those spells while you're moving around doing stuff. But if you get them late, maybe go fight a dragon or two. It's still not ideal, but it is a way to get through it. That Flare Star coming out from Mildane.
I remember my first restreamed race. I had 8 characters within the first half hour, but I couldn't find espers to save my life.
That is too many. I don't remember who was my first or second restreamed race, but I saved myself into a corner in this Magitech facility that Fraggle is in, and I had to spend 40 minutes fighting Poltergeist. And by 40 minutes fighting Poltergeist, I mean 40 minutes fighting one Poltergeist fight. There was no deaths. Well, I died once and then I did it again, and it took 40 minutes.
Nightblade is changing Terra's name to
Raven. Not sure who that is, but
I would assume it's family of some sort.
Yep. Going in with another one here. Terron. Yeah, we do know that Nightblade is a new runner, and he did say his son really likes to watch randos on YouTubes and stuff, so it's quite possible that is a family member's name there.
Let's give a quick shout out to them while we have him on stream then.
What? Sorry, I only caught half of what you just said.
I said if his son is indeed watching, let's give them a quick shout out.
Oh yes, absolutely. If Nightblade's son is here, how you doing? Look at your dad doing stuff. Finding a ghost train?
Is the revive flag on?
It is not. Or is,
so
depending on what you make.
We cannot trick the train. We have to kill it.
Yes, that is a flag that is very easy to miss. I do kind of consider it standard at this point because it does make the game more interesting. But it is one that I have done very well in races for noticing that you can just kill certain things without
We have
any
Boo
issue.
doing your favorite check.
Oh, so good, this check. I love it. I wish all the checks had random rooms that give you random amounts of stuff and sometimes no stuff, and then you randomly find the way out.
I literally got locked in here for like a good 10 minutes. I couldn't find the progress, and then I found the exit. I accidentally left, and I just said, screw it, I'm not going back in.
Yeah, you do keep the coral if you leave and come back, but I have learned to accept this check. I still hate doing it, but I have also learned from experience and from Cecil doing experiments that it takes, on average, 2 minutes to finish it.
We do have Zelfer, as we said, doing our tracking, and we know how much Zelfer loves our Strago checks. We've had both the Burning House and now Abbott's Rock.
Yeah.
We'll see if we go up Cultist Tower, but I don't think we'll be seeing that one.
Well, we haven't even seen anyone peek it yet, which is slightly interesting. Because that's one of the few checks you can know the reward from without actually completing it. Epilepsy warning there on Nightblade's screen.
We have Ben Show Sly, who is one of our community helpers in chat, giving us the evil idea of randomizing the amount of coral you need for the chest. I do not like that. No.
I also no. Just no. Also no.
One thing I would love is if the text for the chest was lessened a bit.
That would be good. I did not see what the reward there was. I was busy typing a Chancellor into chat because I'm a professional. That's why they pay me so much money. Nightblade finally doing that lone wolf check. Mildane doing the Welk.
I mean, I was going to deposit the check into your account for doing this race with me tonight, but I lost your account information somewhere, so I kind of just went back to my own account. Sorry.
Oh, that's fine. My bank details are 6735. Wait.
Yeah. We're kind of live. So I'll just keep your money. That's fine.
That seems fair.
Don't forget Spain animal crackers.
Oh, animal crackers are delicious. I did not see what they fought or got from that Welk check. Let us look at our little sheet. It seems as though Zelfer also missed that. If anyone in the chat has noticed what happened at that check, please let us know. Another flame eater there on the train for Fraggle. And by train I mean minecart, and by minecart I mean thing in a factory, which is like a train or a minecart. What isn't either.
It's a factory tram, I think, is what official call for it is in the official strategy guide.
Oh, la-di-da. Smash! And... Fraggle.
You dead, Jim.
Sorry?
I said he dead, Jim.
Oh, yes.
We have a lock.
Oh! Nightblade just did something I have yet to learn to do and only figured out I could do by accident. If you do it perfectly, you can walk past that line of brown soldiers at Kefka at Narsh and walk straight up to Kefka without waiting for all those brown guys to walk up. I can do it like 1 in 3 times, and I still have no idea how the timing works. But that was impressive.
I did not catch it, but I'll have to watch it back.
Yeah, that's a clip that should go in the clippy section of the thing. Of the Discord. Meanwhile, Chatternook for Fraggle.
Add more flame hitters.
Oh! And we have the delicious morph into a Chancellor move from Fraggle.
Mr. Andy is a big fan of the Chancellor.
Oh, they're so good. They're definitely not the most aggravating thing in the game at all. And back into Mach. Chatternook goes down. Flame Eater comes up and is throwing blowfishes around. Not an ideal ability to see. Dataluma throwing that thing that isn't Aqua Rake. Don't remember what it's called. Mildane picking up Siren from that Kefka Nurse check.
We're at roughly an hour, so 60 divided by 3, so our enemies are about level 30-ish.
That's not how math works.
20-ish.
There you go. Fraggle picking up Lock from that Magitech thing. Which does lead to a quote-unquote free Paladin shield. He has not instantly gone for it. But Lock's checks in World of Ruin Narsh are both, well, technically only one of them's a check. It is free, but then you can also check out A, how much the Cursed Shield requires to unlock into a Paladin Shield, and B, just get a Cursed Shield. It is usually my go-to move if I find Lock, but sometimes there's other stuff that's faster to route on the way. Nightblade getting through Kefka at Nurse there. And Boo going to the World of Balance. Remove her Fraggle from the Celeste check. And Mildane doing a check we haven't seen yet. Esper Mountain. Which will result in a Cyan. And an Aegis Shield in the first chest, which is nice.
Well, that is his 8th character, so that's not a bad pickup.
Nope. Mildane needs 1 character, which he will get in a moment, and 5 Espers. Boo still looking for 2 characters. He'll get 1 here, and then 1 Esper. Nightblade, 1 character, 6 Espers, and Fraggle looking for 2 characters, 4 Espers. So, Boo's in the lead, but it's reasonably close aside from that.
Well, we do have random bosses too, so we don't know what Kefka's Tower is going to be like. We could have all goddesses, for example.
Yep, and Boo could run into like 6 dead checks in a row. It's always a question mark who's actually going to win. Nightblade, for his first run, actually keeping up pretty well, I think.
Yeah, very impressive run for Nightblade so far. We have more Piranha, that's the word I'm looking for, in the Magitech part, the Esper Cave.
Yep, and a leader for Fraggle. We've been seeing a fair amount of not-so-terrible bosses this seed.
boards are tough.
We've had the one Poltergeist, a reasonably early Flame Eater, and nothing much else has been bad. Umaro for Fraggle from that Tunnel Armor check. I doubt he's going to consider putting Umaro in the party. Umaro can be quite useful, but it's usually more towards the start of the game.
Well, if he doesn't start naked, he does come with a snow muffler and a bone club.
Yes, and you do actually have to put him in your party to get those off of him, because the airship guy is incapable of removing his equipment. And we see Fraggle going for that Cursed Shield / Ragnarok check I mentioned previously.
So we are an hour into the seed. What number does that have to be for you to clean it?
An hour in, and he needs 5 checks minimum. It's got to be 10 or less, and 10 is pushing it. What about you?
Yeah, I'd even say 5 or less at this point.
Yeah, it depends how I feel and what checks are left, too. And it is...
As much as I love my Ultima.
9. There is no Ultima, but it is still a Paladin shield.
I mean, no Ultima would probably even bring it down. I'd say definitely below 5. I wouldn't even bother at this point. I'd just sell it.
I would say it depends on what checks you have left. Fraggle has not done the Burning House or the Leet River yet. Those are both checks available to him that he might have to do. You always got to weigh in those forced encounter things. But yeah, 9 is a bit high.
The other question is, do we have a peace ring or a ribbon? I don't think we've seen either one yet.
I think I saw peace rings in a shop. But obviously people aren't going to buy those unless they know they want one.
I mean, you could take their weapon off and just have them punch you in the face a few times, I guess.
Oh, Nightblade going out of his way for that delicious 500 gold chest. One of the few chests in the game I almost universally skip. Not that it universally has 500 gold in it, it just takes a while to get. There's that gold Durgan again. I believe it's in a different place than the last gold Durgan.
There was the experience egg.
Curly, Larry, Mo from Mildane. Or to use their Game Boy Advance names, I don't know. They're less good.
This fight is actually pretty dangerous with tiered abilities. Larry going down pretty early, so that can do the Delta Force. I think the top one actually raise him, though.
The top one will cast Life 2. I'm not sure how that works with tiered abilities or scaled abilities, but I presume Atma has made some allowance for making sure that certain counter-style moves are left out of that tiering.
Doesn't really matter, though, because he takes him down pretty quickly.
Yeah, that went quite fast. I was considering making it game time 2, but for a community race I felt that was a bit too harsh. I would actually like a game time 2.5, because I think that's where the real the best place to put it is. Valiant Knife for Fraggle, who already has an offering.
So you could do offering and Valiant Knife with Genji Glove and offering if you really wanted to, I suppose.
Yeah, I would instantly remove the fixed dice and put a Valiant Knife on.
Oh, I'm not disagreeing with that. That's a fantastic weapon.
Yep, and if you find a red cap or a green beret even, one neat little trick you can do is just before a boss, take the hat off, heal up with a tent or a sleeping bag, then put the hat back on, and you will raise your HP by an amount, but you won't be healed by that amount, so that's an instant few hundred to few thousand extra damage you can do depending on how far you've progressed in the game and in terms of levels. Also the muscle bow.
Renfell says, the wiki of our site only says that abilities that do damage are scaled, so Life 2 will remain as Life 2.
That makes sense. That makes sense. As always, Atma has thought it through, and Boo has found out that Realm is about to be taken away from the other children.
No, he has... looks like he's going to leave Realm here, I guess.
No, he's going for it. Valley Garmandus for Fraggle, yielding a Magicite.
Do our characters join at average level? I did not catch that.
They do. That is an absolute beautiful quality of life flag that I will basically never turn off. Crusader has float and something else that's crap. Not a very good find, but he's on the way to a different check, so, you know, whatever. Appears to be going for the monster in the box. Nope, just falling down. Magitech facility being shown off again over on Nightblade's screen. Whilst Mildane, I think, might have just bought Doomgaze and I wasn't looking.
So this will actually be Boo's entrance into, I almost said Ganon's Tower. It'll be his entrance into Kefka's Tower.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm pretty sure Ganon isn't in this game.
Not yet.
It might be one of the, 100 sprites we have, though. Oh, and there's the real Doomgaze for Fraggle. Mildane did get an Esper... wait, no, was it Fraggle just a moment ago? I confused myself by looking at two people.
It looks like Fraggle continued his naming trend, named Celeste after Ceiling Cat, one of our more prominent runners as well in the community.
Yeah, it is indeed Mildane that fought Doomgaze, and it looks like he's going to the Dream at the moment, being the only person who has found Cyan. Reasonable check. There are 2 bosses in it, and it's kind of slightly long, but there's 3 rewards, so often a place I will go either way.
It does unlock the ability of Sword Tech at the end as well.
Yes, whether or not Cyan is the one who has it, it's still an important thing to do. Boo taking a death there, and noping out of that.
So he is going to Kefka's Tower, so we'll see what our lineup is. Level 30 is a bit early for Kefka's Tower, I think.
How did he get Realm?
Are you sure he died?
I saw a black screen with Shadow kneeling down. I don't know what just happened.
I missed it, so I'd have to go back and look.
Yes, and Fanatic's Tower, first look for Fraggle. I was about to say, you don't want to see Vargas throwing meteors at you, but that was apparently not what was happening there. Mildane has found Meteor the spell. Fraggle saying no to that check, as it was not a character. And Nightblade taking on those cranes in the approximately correct vanilla area. Fraggle probably going for the firehouse here. Not a check most people enjoy. But it will get him the character he's looking for. And also, 5 chests.
So watching Boo back for a second, he did complete that fight. And I don't know where you saw Shadow, but he did beat the cranes.
Then I have no idea what my brain just did.
Oh, he used a tent after he left the building.
Ah, it was a tent, not a death. That explains things and makes a lot more sense.
The power of instant replay.
I am a professional. When are you gonna send me those animal crackers?
No, Zelfa got the animal crackers. I gave you money, but I got put into my own account.
Well, can I steal Zelfer's animal crackers? Man's gotta eat.
In the words of Mills Lane, I'll allow it.
All right then.
But you only get the camel.
Well, that's the most delicious one. It's the easiest one to bite the head off of. Now I have to go into the basement and it's all dark down there. Not sure how Zelfer tracks in that environment.
Bring him some water while you're going down there.
There's some leaky pipes and stuff down there. He'll be fine. So those deep eyes gonna probably present much less of a problem to Fraggle at this point than it did to, I believe it was Nightblade towards the very start of the game.
Nightblade found a behemoth suit.
One of the better bits of defensive gear in the game. Lots of nice stats on that, and fairly high defense stuff. Mildane heading towards the second boss fight of Science Dream. And it is a tunnel armor. Not particularly worrying. Oh, and it looks like Nightblade is going for the third section of the Magitech Factory, which will get him lock.
So we're going to see what our first boss of the Kefka Tower Gauntlet is.
Yeah, tunnel armor almost instantly dead for Mildane there. Not that big of a deal. One of the earlier bosses in the game, so when it shows up, it's usually not that worrying. And
it's funny, we were talking about natural magic, and then Strago had it. Oh, we have a leader. There's a pushover.
Yep. Have we even seen Strago cast magic? Okay, yes, he has Cure 2, Cure 3, Bold 2, Ice 2. He's got some stuff.
Cure 3 is always very nice against Kefka.
Yep. One of the slightly more ridiculous spells in the game.
Thankfully, we did not see Gao. Gao can stay wherever he is and never come back.
But he has natural magic. And 2 abilities. 2! But we are seeing Fraggle making reasonably short work of those deep eyes with his meteor. Nightblade, meanwhile, fighting through some not ideal fights on that little factory cart thing. Mildane completed the dream, having gathered for himself 2 espers and an item that I didn't actually see. I just saw it was a dead check and looked away for a second. Boo, meanwhile, already up to the statue portion of Kefka's Tower. Making very good time. Everyone else, about even. Nightblade's a little bit behind, but again, for a first restreamed race and having just joined the community within the last week, doing pretty well.
Yeah, very impressive run for Nightblade so far. Very interested to see where they go from here. I hope they join some more community events in the future.
Absolutely. The more the merrier, and that seems like a pretty reasonable time to do this. There's a link to our Discord and the website. Why not come on by? Have some good times with some good peoples in a good community for a good game.
This upcoming week, we will have 2 additional restreams, one on Wednesday, one on Friday of our week 8 of our Kefka Grand Prix. And then we might take a week off just to relax for a week before we go into our finals. That's kind of undecided at the moment.
Yeah, Jesusmas and other holidays also upcoming, so people might be a bit less available. But that will be TBA. TBD. That's how that works. We do always have a nice little Saturday restream at 7 p.m. Eastern, though. That's what you're watching right now. So if you feel like watching more, not necessarily our player, we're going to be here.
And we have our first statue incoming for Boo the Runner.
It's another Curly Larry Moe and a dead Celeste. Still using those 6 dice. Didn't find that Valiant Knife.
No, Boo does have the Valiant Knife because he killed that gold dragon.
I believe that was a different gold dragon.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay, so, okay. Well, wouldn't the reward still be the same, though?
Valiant Knife is a good tier item reward, not the reward you get from the gold dragon.
Gotcha.
Because the dragons do still give their regular reward, but then in addition they give a reward from the good item pool, which is the rewards you get for a dead check, i.e. one that does not reward you with a character or an esper. Some of them better than others. None of them that you're going to be particularly mad about. Especially since they removed the heal rods from that pool.
Mildane going dragon hunting.
Indeed, Ice Dragon in the Opera House, and apparently Chatternook can confuse you, which is a thing I did not remember.
Well, tiered abilities, so that could be a play off that.
Ah, yes, there's always that. This game just gets harder and harder to actually commentate on because it just does stuff. It just does.
I didn't catch what that first statue was for Boo, but he took it out, whatever it was. Was that the Curly Moe? Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was Curly Larry Moe. Yeah.
The Dream Stooges.
Yep. Fraggle going for the 60k Shiva, which places him at 1 or 2 espers remaining. 1 esper remaining. Just took Zell for a second to get that through. So he will shortly... He is tied, in fact, with Mildane at the moment. They will both shortly be heading off to Kefka's Tower.
So this is kind of ironic. We have spicy chicken where the tentacles are, and the tentacles where spicy chicken is.
Maybe they just, did a job swap. Get some alternate experience on the old CV. I'm not actually sure what a CV is. It seems to be different from a resume, but I've never had anyone precisely tell me how.
Apparently the Doom from Mog works on one of the tentacles. I did not know that.
Bottom left is insta-killable. The other 3 are not. Some nice ocean views there on Nightblade screen, going for World of Balance Zozo, it looks like. Meanwhile, Fraggle and Mildane doing some menuing. Boo having a little bit of trouble with these tentacles, having been grabbed by both of them. And of course I looked away just in time to not see what that dragon gave to Mildane. Oh no, wait, he was in the menu already. Either way, I missed it.
Boo gets past the tentacle, so we'll see what our third statue is, but so far this tower is pretty easy.
Yes, it does not seem that many actually difficult bosses have shown up. We've seen a Poltergeist, we've seen a Doomgaze, and I can't think of anything else we've seen that would actually generally worry me. But we are seeing 3 people now into Kefka's Tower. Boo coming up on the end of it. Nightblade still a bit behind, but we're only an hour 20 in, so... I mean, a bit more than that because I probably didn't start the timer. But it's still, you know... I would say general average time for the completion of a random seed in this game for the whole community is about 2.5 hours.
Nightblade doing the chainsaw check. I like it.
I have stopped doing that recently because it never works out for me. They are doing the check on this chest that I actually did not know existed until about 2 months ago. It's interesting how long you can play a game like this and then just miss things completely.
Well, even going back to vanilla, there's still stuff I'll play through and I'll say, hey, I never saw that before.
Exactly. Umaro taking a pearl for Boo. Probably not. That goes down immediately. Again, bosses have been pretty pleasant. Oh, it's me. Me. I'm Locke. And Gogo is trash. Well, that's just false.
I did not catch what the last statue was, but whatever it was, Boo took it up pretty quickly.
It was Umaro. It was not anything to worry about.
Yeah, so Kefka's Tower, kind of a pushover.
Yep, this has been one of the faster runs through it I've seen. Mildane taking the lead now while Fraggle just messes around with rename cards and such.
Do we have music on Boo?
Oh, we can, certainly. Allow me a moment.
Because you know that's coming up.
Come on, VLC. There we are. Time for everyone's favorite song, who isn't me. I like the song a lot, it's just not my favorite. I'm a big fan of Zozo and the Magitech Factory. Though I do recognize that objectively this is probably the most, like, ridiculously well-written song in the game. And immediate row for Boo. Meanwhile, Mildane taking out this leader, presumably within a few seconds. Shadow with the dragon horn for Boo, of course. Apparently wearing that pearl lance he found earlier. Very nice combination. Another version of Kefka for Nightblade. Fraggle stopping in front of a dragon. Presumably he's going to go save and then make sure he doesn't get killed by it. But we are seeing something with the tiered spells that makes this a little harder. They don't really have a lot of elemental spells. So it's hard to hit that fire weakness on the top. Nightblade getting a Ragnarok Esper there from the Zozo check. What does it have? Poison and Bio. Not ideal. I think they already have access to both of those spells.
Did Boo find the Golem Esper?
I think so. I'm not 100% on that. Boo does indeed have Golem.
Okay, as I said, we haven't seen a ton in terms of Calmness defense.
No, I think I've seen Golem, and I think I saw Fenrir somewhere. Yeah, Fenrir was available from Doomgaze, but the only person who has that is Mildane, who just randomly ran into it. Boo already on tier 2. Boo does have a fair whack of damage output, despite the lack of general spells.
He's also pretty low level for a Final Kefka, I think.
I have not been keeping track of people's levels.
Boo was mid-30s, so very, very low 40s.
Mid-30s is perfectly doable. It depends on more your equipment at that point. Once you get into the 40s, you can kind of stop paying attention to your equipment so much. Fraggle slowly taking at this ice dragon with me and Trash, who I believe is Go-Go, who is just dressed as Mog. He's a very good mine. Mog for Boo taking a Fire 3 in the face for like 150 damage, which is nothing.
I like that play from Mildane using the air anchor to instant kill Narapa.
Air anchor, very good piece of tools. I was not aware Narapa was vulnerable to instant death. But air anchor, if they take... who was it that had it? Was it Realm? Realm had the tools, I think?
Yes, the Murder Child did have tools.
Yes, there are 2 pieces of Final Kefka that can be insta-killed via that or some other thing. Air Anchor notable for being unmissable. Boo there making use of Siren to mute the magic portion of this fight, something we have been seeing more and more people do. And something.
Do we have multicast Espers on?
No, we do not, because it is my opinion that that needs to be fixed before it becomes standard. Essentially, I heartily approve of the ability to use attack Espers over and over, but if you have the ability to cast Fenrir or Golem, etc. over and over, it's a bit broken, especially on this final fight. Well, I guess...
Or until you're not paying attention, you use a Crusader on yourself.
Mildane killing the Stooges. Fraggle fighting another dragon. Which apparently you can confuse. That's something I was unaware of. And poison. Red dragon, weak to poison and confuse.
Nightblade dealing with the F and Baba.
Yeah, those fixed dice probably not doing sufficient damage to do much about it, but that Ragnarok with the flare proc is gonna do a fair chunk. Oh, and it's Genji Glove with some sort of lance. Baba Breath taking away the 2 girls. But he's still
This should be Nightblade's 8th character though, so they're well on their way.
Realm joins the fight, and it's just some cranes. Probably not that worrying. Got some dispels coming in, which means the end of magic. And a rare use of coin toss, which I guess is what Terra had. Not a great ability in this game. Although if you're playing Final Fantasy V, kind of one of the best abilities in the game. I think they just overcompensated when they were making this one.
It's not possibly one of the harder bosses of the game. We have Girl in, I think it's Sleep, I think they call it the guy.
Sleep and Girl, yes. Girl absorbs every element, so you have to hit her with physical attacks or non-elemental damage. She also has access to Pearl Wind, which just heals for the amount of health that the caster currently has. So, kind of important to take her out first. Also, because if you kill Sleep first, she will cast Life 2 on him, and that's a problem.
But you have to be careful with Sleep's HP pool because he'll actually get into a series of a loop where he'll just cast Veto on your face non-stop.
Yep. Not just cast it, but also counter with it. And that is one of the main places you can see runs just stop and lose 10 minutes. Kefka tier 2 and 3 are usually run killers more than final Kefka. Like tier 4 Kefka.
Tier 4 Kefka can be interesting. You have to really pay attention to what your damage output is. You have to kind of watch where his HP is.
Yeah, if you know the math, and you know that at about 35k he'll do Goner and then start countering, and then at about 50 high k he'll start countering with Ultima, and then there's another Goner in there that you almost never see because it's just before he dies. Once you know that, it's mostly a matter of counting to 62, but you know, if you're not paying attention or you look away for a second, you can lose track really easily.
Overall, nice Kefka 3 fight for Boo. Looks like he's probably going to go down to these dice rolls. But they've been very low, actually.
Yeah, that's why I tend not to take... oh, the Chancellor with the Ragnarok. Here comes the Calmness, blocked, and he's on to Final Kefka.
Strago is going to make it without the timer running down.
Yeah, that is a notable thing that happens. If you have that condemn on, it will be taken away when you get to Final Kefka, as will some other things. I don't know the full list, but not everything persists between tiers of Kefka.
I believe we do have a couple Mega Elixirs.
Very helpful. If Kefka is not damaged to approximately 30k before he gets a chance to move, he will always use Fallen One, which will reduce every character to 1 HP, putting them right next to death. Mega Elixir, very important at that point. Although he does also have access to Cure 3 on Strago.
I think he's kind of looking around to see how to counter the original Fallen One. He's going to have Shadow Jump, so he's going to get out of here.
Yeah, Mildane just entering into the final Kefka fight. And Fraggle making his way through the goddess statues. Nightblade, meanwhile, doing something that makes sense, but you don't see many more experienced runners do. I'm not sure if you noticed, but he was actually lowering the spikes. Usually people will just straight up walk through them. It is a bit faster. And if you're aware of how the save points work, you can always heal your other party while you're on the save point with any party.
Here's our opening Goner, so Boo should be okay here.
Yeah, he does have a fairly good damage output, so I'm not too worried about him. It's just those dice are not treating him well. That's usually why I take them off, you know, midway through the game or so, assuming there's a better offensive option. Here comes the Goner. He'll probably be fine. Another statue down for Fraggle.
Well, then making a pretty quick work of Tier 1.
Yep, there were many offensive possibilities in this seed, so that is a GG for Boo. Let's see if we can get him in for an interview. Hip hip hooray. Meanwhile, we do have Mildane probably about to finish the first tier of his Kefka fight. And we'll see if Nightblade wants to fight that dragon or not.
Looks like we do have Boo joining us. GG, my friend. Well played.
Hello, thank you.
Yeah, good job, man. You are our first place winner tonight.
Woo! Yeah, that seed was interesting. Everything was going like, I mean, it was super easy, and everything seemed to be dying in like 1 or 2 hits the entire game. The only problem is I kept picking checks that were not characters, and I was really hoping. So I noped out of Magitech early on the 3rd tier, just saying I got plenty of other options, and then I just did like 10 in a row that got me nothing. So I was really hoping I didn't screw that one up. But
Lock was the end of the Magitech.
yeah, I was thinking that whole time I should have just gone and done it, but I had so many more options at that point. I just thought it wasn't worth it. I'll just go do some fast ones. I'll find one somewhere. And technically I did, but yeah, I probably could have saved myself some time had I just seen it through. But the finding the fixed dice and the offering was huge until the Kefka fight, when he just kept rolling like a grand total of 4 every dice roll for every turn. So
yeah,
that was
the
kind
dice were not treating you well.
of. But up until then, it went smooth as silk, so can't complain too much.
Yeah, what did you think of the flag set?
Oh, it's cool. It's good to get back to nothing too crazy. I think scaled random was on.
Yep.
Enemy scaling random, but I didn't really see a whole lot of it. I saw a little bit, but I've definitely played seeds where maybe it's just because of the game time scaling. I think I stayed ahead of it the whole time, so the enemies weren't that high level and we weren't seeing anything too weird.
Yeah,
But
I
that
don't
one-
think anybody lasted long enough to see too much of a level.
That flag can cause some real weirdness, and that was the only one I was concerned about coming into this, but turned out to not be an issue.
Yeah, the other thing was there didn't seem to be a lot of actually difficult bosses that much.
Yeah, not a lot. Hit like a poltergeist and.
We saw a poltergeist, a doomgaze, and a stooges fight, and those were the worst things in the entire game.
Yeah, it wasn't.
Kefka's tower to just push over.
Yeah, it was a kind seed in that regard, I guess. The game time scaling is cool. I think. So, well, I mean, obviously, every 2 minutes would provide more of a challenge, and I think it's. Not that I dislike the 3, as it keeps things kind of chill. But it does.
I was considering
ahead of
2,
it.
but I thought for a community race where we might have newer people and stuff, I would leave it at the 3. A 2.5 option would be nice, but I'm not sure how the math on that would work in the game.
Yeah, no big deal. Definitely not complaining. It's just once you get ahead of it, like you're just gonna stay ahead of it most likely, unless you really are really struggling. So that's cool.
Cool. Well, any final thoughts for the night?
Nope. Just gonna go. Oh, if people are for those running the Kefka Grand Prix, I recommend getting some practice in, because those flags get weird. And other than that, thanks to Atmatech and for you guys commentating and running the things tonight. And see you later.
All right. Well, GG, and you have a good one, man.
You too. Thanks.
Mildane doing business against Kefka Tier 2.
Yep. Nightblade finding a Tritok in the sky. Fraggle still making his way through that final bit of the tower. He now has all 3 of his characters at the end. We're about to see another person entering into the final Kefka fight. Remembering now that he has those Marvel shoes, something no one else had access to. I don't think we saw anyone else go to the Coliseum.
No, we only saw one person at the Coliseum.
Yeah, it's not a common strategy, but people seem to be trying it out more and more. I don't think anyone's actually gotten to the point where they're going, this is a good idea. I think they're just going, I'll give it a shot. And why not? You gotta change it up sometimes. On to Tier 3 for Mildane. And Fraggle about to start his fight. Some possibility if, Kefka is mean to Mildane, that Fraggle might catch up. But he seems to be making pretty short work of everything so far. 2 characters frozen for Nightblade, not something you want to see, but the fixed dice taking out Tritok as we have seen with every other racer. Anything that ignores defense, very nice for dealing with him.
Everyone kind of used that off-roading fixed dice combo in this seed.
Yep, and there's the Meteo for Mildane. Not a terrible one, but that is often a run ender. Oh, it looks like Edgar's got the old slip hit going on him, which is not an ideal situation. I try to get rid of that before Final Kefka because that, in combination with Fallen One, that is just a death sentence.
Now, what does cure slip hit?
You have to use a Remedy the item. I don't think Remedy the spell works. There is a weird Venn diagram of what Remedy the spell versus Remedy the item cures, and I think Slip Hit is only on the item side of that diagram.
I think in the Japanese version, Remedy the spell, Remedy item are different names, I want to say.
It does make sense. But the description of Remedy the item is will cure any status effect except zombie, I believe. But even that's not actually 100% accurate. It will cure most things, and they're very useful to have, but, you know, if you're not aware of a certain thing that it can or can't cure, it can be quite irritating. Nightblade
We have
a monster in a box here.
Mildane's about to poke Kefka 4. We'll see how their fight goes. HP's a little on the lower side. We'll see how it does it.
A Spectre throwing a water edge. It did a remarkably small amount of damage, but usually anything throwing something at you is a danger. The dice being a bit kinder to Mildane here, but here comes Fallen One. Also showing you why jump can be so good. And the Mega Elixir goes off before Edgar's seizure has a chance to kill him. So a bit of luck there for Mildane. An Imp over on Fraggle's side. Tier 2 can be quite a hassle if it decides to do status effects and so on. Particularly the Tiger, who can both freeze and zombie you.
Taking a look at Nightblade, they're going to grab a couple more airspace here, so I think it's going to leave them one short at the end. Maybe two.
Yeah, we might see an auction house. 5,600 damage on that Flare Star seems a bit low considering Fire 2 did 46-ish. Again, I'm not entirely sure how the calculation for Flare Star works. I just know it's level based, but Kefka has a very high level. We did see a 10k roll on the dice though, so that's Mildane done.
Kefka level 71 for his final form.
Yeah, we'll see if we can get them in for an interview. Leaving us with two runners, one of whom is in the final fight. And one of whom is, you know, we're at 145. Still pretty respectable proceedings for someone whose first time it is. At least on a restream. Oh, Mildane will be joining us here in a moment.
Okay, that's the run completed with a nice 147, just under 148.
Oh.
I'm gonna be hop.
I have muted them. And we'll throw on Nightblade's music there. Whose sound appears to just be broken. So we'll go with Fraggle. And we may have to go to a playlist.
From Baba doing Quasar.
Yeah, we'll drag Mildane into the room here and see what he has to say.
Congratulations, Mildane. Well played.
Mildane has themselves muted at the moment. We will,
Thank you. That's sorry, I'm used to that not being the case.
So, GG, well played. Talk to us on the seed. How'd you like it?
I liked it. It was a nice change of pace from the last couple of weekly community races. A nice, open-ended, fairly not heavy on the difficulty level, but not super easy necessarily either.
yeah, I basically took the flags that I think should be standard and then changed a few of them. So
Yeah, that seems reasonable. I like the time-based scaling. It's a nice change.
yeah, something we don't use much. How do you feel about the 3-character start?
It was nice. I don't know if it was necessary, but it does definitely open things up at the beginning, which is nice.
Yeah, I tend to prefer it myself. Any particular highlights for you about that scene?
Well, not quite understanding how my rages work and having to kill off Celis during an early poltergeist fight was fun.
Yes, the old flare star.
Yeah, I knew that one had something good, but I didn't remember what it was at the time, and I did not want to be healing him for like 1500 every turn.
Yeah, especially not that early in the seed when you didn't really have anything to overpower it.
Right.
Poltergeist is hard enough without giving them an advantage.
Right. We got through that in the end, fortunately.
Yeah, well, good on you. You got second place by just 4-ish minutes, it seems like. So, pretty good showing for a bit of initial difficulty.
Yeah, I'm always happy, satisfied with a sub 2-hour run.
Yeah, and doing as well as Boo is usually a pretty good indication that you've succeeded.
Mm-hmm. I'd be curious to go back and watch and see, because this one's much more open-ended than the last few have been, see what choices people took and what checks they did.
People went in very different directions in this one, which is, again, one of the reasons I like a 3-character start, just to show off. You know, Fraggle's coming up on tier 3, Boo finished 4 minutes before you, and you 3 all went in completely different directions. So,
Yeah,
I think at all points, all 4 of you were in different locations. I think there's very, very little overlap.
Mm-hmm. There's definitely some checks that I'm partial to that I know aren't necessarily the most efficient, like Cyan's Nightmare.
Oh yeah, the Dream is quite nice, especially if you have Sword Tech, but it's a little long, but there's only 2 bosses for 3 checks, which is nice.
But yeah, I mean, going there early and going Opera early, I think were risks that paid off. Excuse me.
Yeah, the Opera that got you Terra, that was good.
Other people did Opera, but I think you're the one who did the Dream.
Yeah, I think you're the only one that found Cyan. Nobody else went to Esper Mountain.
Oh yeah. I was like, well, I should do something quick. What's quick?
Yeah, that's my usual default after finding Realm. Is Esper Mountain takes like 30 seconds.
Mm-hmm. And if you're in a position where you know you only need a character, or you need something that's not a character, you get the preview. So
yeah, you also get to peek it, which is quite nice. So yeah, it was a good move there. Any final thoughts about the race here? We're about to see Fraggle coming up on the end, so we'll have to get
don't think so. Good luck to him. Hope he can get a clean finish.
All right, well, GG's again, man. Hope you have a good night, and we'll see you around.
Thanks. Good night. Good evening.
Nightblade taking out Rizapes, going to finish off the Floating Continent. That's going to give them their 10th Esper.
Yeah, 1 left for them. Fraggle, in the meantime, taking a rough train right near the end, and about to take a Condemned to kill a Shadow. Not ideal. Especially when they just used Phantom. Phantom? A way to get through calmness, but I have never successfully used it without this exact thing immediately happening. You get medioed right in the face.
That's a hefty medio.
Yeah. Medio is never fun, and when it's guaranteed to hit, that's a bit of a problem. But, you know, there are ways for Fraggle to get through this. It will just be interesting to see if he decides that keeping you alive is necessary.
Looks like Nightblade is looking for their last Esper. I think they're going to the auction house.
Having a bit of difficulty navigating, it looks like. That is something that took me a while to get used to, is swiftly moving around the worlds in the airship. Fraggle there with the jumpy jumps from Shadow. I guess it was pretty important he got Shadow back up, but down goes Celeste, and Edgar dodges it. So one character down for Fraggle. Could have been worse.
Yeah, looks like that Fraggle may never gotten that Golem or that Fenrir.
No, and when you've only got Phantom, this is a bit tricky to get that off at exactly the right time. I've certainly never managed it. Yeah, looks like we'll need to get rid of Mildane there at the bottom right. But pretty good showing all around. Nightblade finding Marvel shoes for sale, which is kind of amusing considering the time spent Fraggle spent finding them.
Interesting they're shopping this late. I'm curious what they're looking for.
It's possible it could just be basic items, but I don't really know. Valiant Knife from myself replacing Celeste, doing a fair whack of damage. Flare proc right off the bat with the Ragnarok, and then some jumps. It's probably going to be straight into Beyond Chaos, and indeed it is. So that's something about Final Kafka. If you do something like 30 to 35,000 damage to him, he will move straight into Beyond Chaos and charge for that Goner.
Yeah, just gotta do. I don't think you'll live through the Goner, but everyone else probably will.
Oh no, I'm a Goner.
You are French toast.
Oh, that's the best kind of toast.
It certainly is tasty.
And Krakow for Fraggle. GG's to them. Another sub 2 hour finish. And we will see if they want to come in for an interview while I put their final time into this sheet. 1:56:48 official finishing time for Fraggle. We will now need to move on to a playlist as Nightblade seems to be having some issues with their audio. Let me just get that up and going.
As we see, Fraggle repeatedly suplexing the Doom train.
As one does, and we will drag Fraggle on in and see what he has to say about the seed. GG's there, Fraggle. And we will wait for Fraggle to figure out what's going on with their mic, presumably. And, oh, it looks like Nightblade is attempting to forfeit.
There we go, push the talk.
Welcome, Fraggle. GG's on the run.
Thank you.
How did you feel that went for you?
I think it went alright. I mean, apart from the odd dead check in the middle of the Magitech factory where it was like 2 items and maybe my pacing a little bit, everything lines up.
Yeah, I did have one question for you. When you were going to the floating continent, you elected to only put 2 characters in your party. Did you think that the split XP thing was on?
No, I hit B thinking, oh crap, did I save before this? And I didn't realise that by hitting B, it just threw me into it. Because I was half expecting Magimaster to be up there, and then if I hadn't saved, it would probably throw me back like 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's not ideal if you hadn't saved. Yeah, that's something to know, is once you're in that screen, you're stuck in that screen.
Yeah, well, luckily it worked out, but
Yeah.
It wasn't an intentional, I'll just send 2 people up there.
Because we were a bit confused. We also see you did blah 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 blah. We also see you did do the Colosseum, which no one else in this scene did, and you found some marble shoes. Did you get anything else good there? Did you think it was worth it?
Oh, the Marvel shoes definitely was worth it. One of the top tier accessories. I mean, regen, haste, protect shell. It's just broken in terms of defensiveness. I think I also got a red cap out of it.
Yeah, you did find a red cap. Something you may be amused to know, Nightblade actually, right at the end there, while you were going through Final Kafka, did find marble shoes just straight up for sale in Albrook.
Ah, well, as you know, I'll look in maybe 3 or 4 shops at the start of the run, and then I just think, yeah, forget it. And
yeah,
whole day.
it's pretty variable runner to runner, how many shops and chests and stuff people check. It's always interesting to see the different opening strats.
I'm just too used to scavenging. Shops, you're okay, they'll have some good stuff, but more often than not, you'll get better gear off a check or in a chest, especially with only the 20% random items included. If it was full random, I'd be checking every shop.
Oh, full random shops is a bit ridiculous.
Gotta love those 60k tonics.
Yeah, but, sometimes you can sell them for 30k, which is also nice.
Exactly.
Yeah. You got any final thoughts here? We're gonna get Nightblade in for talk about their first run.
Just the usual. Praise Atma, suplex trains, and of course, Boo Jack.
Absolutely. Well, GG's again, man. We will see you around, and I hope you have a good night.
Thank you. I will catch you around. GG's, Boo Jack.
Absolutely. So,
And we do have Nightblade with us now. GG, well played, my friend. Great first showing for your first seed on the every stream. Well done.
Nightblade maybe on push to talk there. While we wait for them to sort their mic out, we will just once again say, go follow our runners. Come join the Discord. Do all those things. This is a good game. They're good people.
Sorry, guys, I'm here, and thank you for the GGs. I had a blast as my first race. I'll tell you one thing. Go-Go's Cave really did me in today with how many times I got crushed by that damn ceiling.
We commented on that a couple times. That was a rough spot, but you think good job to keep going through it though, man.
Yeah, you were doing quite well. Did you just kind of want to end it because everyone else had finished, or what?
A little bit, yeah. I'm going to go behind after, probably practice some more seeds. One thing I really need to work on is my routing. Once I get my routing and shopping done a little better, then I think I could be able to hold out. But until then, I just need to keep practicing, keep doing races, and the more I do, the better I get. And GG's to all the other runners, to our commentary team. You guys are awesome.
Well, thanks. Again, for a first showing, that you were doing quite well. Had it been any other week with a few different runners, you would have been, right there with them.
Well, I appreciate that. Like I said, newcomer. I'm still learning the routing, the character gating, stuff like that. But like I said, I had a blast doing this, and I'm going to continue to do the races. You guys are an awesome community. I had a lot of fun. My wife was behind me, supporting me the whole way. My son, as always, is supporting me. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I did the rename cards a couple times. Raven is my wife's nickname, and Taryn is my nickname, so that's why I did it that way.
Yeah, we actually commented that we were actually going to let you shout them out if you wanted to. We assumed that's what it was. So we were going to give you that opportunity, but since you just did, very well.
Well, thank you guys, and I look forward to the next race. Just keep more practicing behind the scenes and just have a blast. And again, GG to everybody. This was fun, and I'll see you next time.
Cool.
All right, we'll see you next week, my friend. Well done.
Thank you.
So with that, I think, Mr. Andy, we are going to wrap it up. Any final thoughts?
No, just as usual, good job to all the runners, especially Nightblade, as we were just saying, first time showing, was doing pretty well, had, probably would have been a 2:30 finish, somewhere in that range, and that's a pretty average time for an experienced runner. So, good job to them. Thanks to all the Restream peoples, especially Zelfer, who's just locked in the basement and can't speak for themselves. Fouls also, and as always, Atmatech for making the thing, and everyone for watching.
All right, so we are going to raid into someone who's doing their partnership, their affiliate push. So let's go say hi, give them a follow, show them some fun times, and we'll see you guys next week for another race.
Yeah, absolutely. Have a good one, people.